Hey there! Welcome to the Unwashed Apples. The Unwashed Asses. That's what we're talking about. Butts. Not apples, not delicious fruit that comes in hundreds and hundreds of varieties, but butts. Butts. Welcome to the Unwashed Asses. Episode 50, the big 5-0, a milestone! Recorded Thursday, April 19th, 2018. The fuck is up with snow? I feel like we were nice and upbeat and happy there, and then it's immediately, no! Everything's awful because of snow! But, as you have to joke when you live in the Midwest, it's a thing of, you know what? 7th winter's my favorite winter. 6th winter's a little bit lackluster. 8th winter, though, can go fuck itself. Right now we're on 8th winter. We get a little taste of spring, we jump up to the 50s, 60s, and then immediately get slammed by ice and snow again. What does it say? It's 37 out right now, so hopefully a good chunk of this melts, but the past 2 days working outside in ice and wind and snow has fucking sucked. And I know I typically don't talk about work because somebody outed me as far as what company I work for, so have to be careful. Because anything I say could put my job in jeopardy. Thanks for that, Dan. Really appreciate that. Would love to still have plausible deniability. But we're gonna break that little rule just a bit though. We're gonna change the names, places, and details so that nobody can get offended and I stay protected. So, the other day, I'm going into a house to do some work. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know what kind of work or the details of it. Because it's not so much a tale of what I did there, more so a tale of what was found. Now, you have to bear in mind, I go in at least, 4 to upwards of 8 houses a day, every day, different houses. So, I'm exposed to a lot, a husband and wife duo that seems super friendly at the start, but as soon as you turn your back and start getting to work, they immediately start screaming at each other. Well, I know, Karen, I have to change the light bulb because I know if you fall off that... Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta turn off those notifications. Oh, that really took the wind out of my sails. I gotta remember to do that before I record on the road. It's not the Midnight Express so much as it is the 9:20 in the morning express. But I know, Karen, if you climb up on that ladder and fall, we know it'll happen to your knee again. I'll never hear the end of it. Well, fuck you, Todd. And so on and so forth. Yeah. That's some of my favorite, or the people who think you can do everything under the sun. Well, I know you're here for X, but I need Y, Z, and A done as well. Can't do it. It's a liability. I can't touch Y, Z, or A. Maybe B, but definitely not Y, Z, or A. I'm here for X only. Well, that's not what they told me on the phone. Well, I don't know what to tell you, sir. I can't help you with that. So, one of my least favorite types of homes to be in is that of a hoarder. Hoarders are filthy, disgusting individuals. I mean, it's one thing to, bear in mind the amount of garbage that they just have piled up. And I'm speaking both literally and metaphorically here, as far as sometimes it's just like they're really into Coke products, and so they've got all the Coke decorations and old bottles, or they're into like action figures, or those are what I consider like the collectors. They're usually more organized. They'll have a ton of stuff, but it's fine. Everything's clean. The hoarders, though, they usually pick like one thing, and then they just keep collecting a bunch of other stuff. So shit's usually piled up at least chest high, sometimes higher. There's only pathways to walk through the house, and my job entails me getting to wall access. I need to be able to get to the wall, then work within the wiring in the wall. So if I can't get to a wall, my ability to help you becomes immediately limited. And hoarders make that extremely difficult. On top of just the random piles of clutter, it's filthy. Because unlike collectors, hoarders don't clean. They're filthy individuals. They're disgusting, useless pieces of shit. More often than not, they don't bathe. Their legs about ready to rot off because of diabetes. They're usually pretty overweight, and they have toenails that would allow them to scale up the sheer side of a cliff face. Adding on to that, they don't vacuum, they don't wipe down their windows. More often than not, there are dirty dishes everywhere in the home. Cobwebs abound. God help me if they have a pet somewhere, because usually there's piss and shit that I've got to be getting right next to, and not to mention the copious amounts of hair and vomit behind, the piles of shit. So I don't like hoarders. I make sure I have to wear my gloves when I go inside, because I don't want to get whatever kind of super AIDS might be brewing in that petri dish. It's not gotten to the point. It's almost gotten to the point once where I had to put on a mask, but not quite gotten to that point. Usually I can get past the smells, because my farts are usually infinitely worse than whatever is going on in that house. But coworker and I roll up on this house. We're getting everything set up in our trucks, and I immediately turn to him and say, "Hey, why did you fail to mention to me," because he had pulled up earlier, "why did you fail to mention to me that this guy was a fucking hoarder?" "Well, I just drove by. I didn't take a deep look." Like, you don't have to take a deep goddamn look at it. Look at his porch. It's piled to the brim with shit. He takes a cursory glance over. Yeah, you're right. So we do the right thing and walk around to the back side of the house, because the front door is barricaded with just shit. You can't walk through it, so rear entrance it is. Get to the back porch, and sure enough, it's just littered with shit. At least there's a walkway to the door. Walkways are key. Don't forget this. Don't touch anything in a hoarder's house, because God knows it might just tumble over, and everything is precariously balanced in there. It's like a Rube Goldberg machine. Knock on the door, and there's no answer. Think of myself, maybe I'll get lucky, and they've either died and we have a rotting corpse inside, not my problem, or they forgot about the appointment, or they're sleeping, for whatever reason. If I can get this job canceled and just walk away, like, I want to do the UPS driver 3-knock system, just like where you lightly tap, like, I just knocked really, really quietly, and that's what the delivery drivers do. They do their 3 knocks, and then they door tag and get the fuck out of there. I wish I could do that. We used to be able to do that, except people started abusing it. They wielded power and then ruined it for everybody else. So now we have to call in, and one of our support teams then has to make contact with the customer by phone call. At that point, if the customer answers, they figure out where the fuck they are, and none of this really matters, because ultimately, guy answers the door. And I'll give you 3 solid seconds to guess what's standing before me. Did you guess a big, fat, disgusting piece of shit? Because that's exactly what was there. Now, he's a large man. Well over 6 foot. Easily upper 300s, maybe 400 pounds. He's got the toenails that allow him to scale the sheer face of a cliffside. And a pungent aroma just wafting off his unwashed flesh. His unwashed asses, if you will. Well, yeah, I need X done, and I need Y, Z, and A done as well. Sorry, sir, I can help you with X, but I can't do Y, Z, and A. Well, they told me you could do Y, Z, and A. Sorry, sir, can't do Y, Z, and A. I can only do X for you. Would you like me to do X? Yes, go ahead, do X. So part of X involves us going into the basement to see where wiring is going, because we have to make a new line. Now, the area I service is full of older homes. Not like, rundown models from the 60s. We're talking homes from the early 1900s, late 1800s, older style Victorians. And usually these they swing to one side, one extreme or another. There's no real in-between with the Victorian homes. They're either shit shows that have been in the family for the past 100 some odd years and have now fallen into the hands of a hoarder, or they've been taken up by an affluent person or couple who have decided to remodel it. Those are fewer and far between. They're gorgeous when you get into them. I can understand the appeal for a Victorian home. That being said, they are not the majority of what I encounter. They are not the norm. So, as you can imagine, hoarder home, Victorian, everything's a little creaky. But the reason I tell you this is because Victorian homes also share another similarity. Doesn't matter if they're super nice or if they're run down. They all have tiny, cramped basements. It's like halfway between a crawl space and a basement. Usually you're hunched over because if you're 6 foot, your head's going to be smacking into the floor joists. Or there's a copious amount of cobwebs. Fun fact, cobwebs are crunchy once you get them in your mouth. They're very crunchy. It's disgusting. But this is something you know now. At least you didn't have to find out the way I did. So, they're usually also segmented into multiple rooms, whereas newer constructions have a big open basement. You can kind of do what you want. Victorian homes have multiple rooms in their basements. They're usually made out of fieldstone, brick, or cement. The walls themselves aren't made out of wooden. Fucking dumbass. They're not made out of wood. They're not rearrangeable, essentially. The only real wood in them is the doors. More often than not, the entryway is narrow, cramped, hard to get into, so people don't typically go down there. More often than not, you're lucky if there's one working light bulb. Everything's a mess, and it just becomes a refuse pit. So imagine kind of like every torture room from the Saw franchise. That's kind of what you get when you walk into any old Victorian basement. They're gross. Nobody goes down there. They're not maintained. They're shitty. Equally shitting is the wiring feeding through them. But that's not the point of this story. The point of this story is, as I'm sure you've sussed out, what we found in said basement. We go down into the basement and, curiosity's always going to strike at you. It's a matter of self-control to respect people's privacy, not go through things. You can look, but definitely don't touch type of deal. Because, let's be honest, it's like when you get that person who goes over to the house party and they're poking through somebody's medicine cabinet. It's a similar concept, except I can go through the entire house because of what my job entails. Now, usually, the customer doesn't follow us into the basement because of the aforementioned reasons. Now, I take pride in my ability to restrain myself. I'll get curious, I'll look, but I definitely don't touch. I don't move customer stuff. I've only had one instance where I asked the customer, hey, could I take a picture of that? That's really, really cool. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. It's totally cool. It makes sense why you want to take a picture. Appreciate that. And there's always stories and tales that are spun by other employees as far as what they've seen in a home. But I think today, actually, no, I definitely know I don't take the cake, but I come awfully damn close. There's only one story that beats mine. And I hate that I just told you that because you're like, well, I want to know what the other story is. I don't care about what you're saying now. If you think the other one's better, why aren't you telling us? Because there's a whole lot of legality tied up in that one. Suffice to say, it's really fucking entertaining. But back to my story, which is now proven to be subpar. So inside the basement, it's dirty, it's filthy, there's heaps of shit cluttered up, but our work area is mostly open. There's not too much we have to do, aside take out a flashlight or two, figure out what's going on. However, sitting on an old chair Underneath, you know when you go to the store and you buy clothes, typically around like Christmas, and they come in a little box that you gift wrap? Sitting underneath one of those is a stack of magazines, about 3 foot tall, and what should be sticking out the side of that magazine? Picture of a man's penis. A glossy 1970s unkempt bushy mane of a cock just peeking right out the side of that stack of magazines. Now, remember everything I said about self-control and restraint? Throw that out the window. Because when you're presented with a 3 foot tall stack of what apparently is gay pornography, I'm sorry, I broke my rule. Like, I've got to see what's going on with this. Customers upstairs, nobody's clearly touched this stack in the last 15 plus years. We got to take a peek. Because my inner 12-year-old comes out and I'm just immediately giggling because it's a stack of wieners. And lo and behold, what do we have? It is a collection of the finest Playgirls, Men's Fitness, and other assorted gay pornography from the late 1970s to, I'd say, mid-80s, based on hairstyles. Now, more than half of these magazines have been bent and opened to very specific pages. The wiener that was sticking out that initially drew my attention, part of a centerfold that was pulled out. There's men's hotlines for boys and their, whiteies, highties, and big burly mustaches, and hair straight from the Led Zeppelin era. It is a train wreck of joy. I am giggling like a fiend, holding up the magazines to my counterpart, who is cowering away and shielding his eyes because he does not want to see gay pornography. All of which just makes me laugh all the more because, honestly, if you can make somebody else uncomfortable, in a good humorous way, not like a rapey kind of way, it's hilarious. You're gonna enjoy it, even if, myself, not really into gay porn, but if I can make somebody else uncomfortable with it, awesome. So we're going through the gay porn, just I've completely forgotten all about my job now. I am engrossed in this treasure trove of smut before me. When, out from the corner of my eye, I spot something else. It's a crumpled up, not really crumpled, it's just really folded down slip of paper. It kind of looks like a pamphlet. Super filthy. But what's on the front of it is what caught my eye. 2 words. Adolf Hitler. Now, immediately, whatever enjoyment I was getting from the stack of gay pornography is only multiplied by the fact that I found a pamphlet with Hitler's name on it. What was the pamphlet, you could ask? You're right to ask, because it only makes this better. The Last Will and Testament of Adolf Hitler. Now, this may have been a joke pamphlet. It may have been legitimate. I don't know if Hitler ever filled out a Last Will and Testament because the guy probably planned on living forever. Either way, the fact that there's a little pamphlet titled The Last Will and Testament of Adolf Hitler right next to a stack of pornography, all while there is German decoration throughout the home, my mind immediately jumps to one thing. We got some gay Nazi on our hands. Immediately, the 16th of Polish blood running through my body gets a shiver. I turn to my counterpart and say, "You got a pretty big nose. He might smell the Jew in you." He tells me to shut up. I start making inappropriate comments at him in German. Talking about his schnitzel. Whatever I had gone there to do has just completely been erased by the joy that this find has brought me. We got some gay Nazi upstairs. Now, I'm okay with the gays. You want to go put your wiener in another guy's butt? Fine. You do you. There's nothing wrong with that. But Nazis, I do not tolerate Nazis. Now again, it could have been a joke pamphlet, but the narrative in my head immediately says a gay Nazi is better than anything else I've encountered on this job. And then, once I get this little tidbit of information, I remember another detail from upstairs in the house. In one of the sitting rooms, there are multiples, draped over many chairs and hanging on the walls and on the floor are bearskin rugs. Now, I didn't really piece it together because the home is older, it's got older decorations amidst all the other hoarder clutter. But it hits me. It hits me like an 8-inch dick right in the face. Why has he got so many bearskin rugs? Because he himself is a bear. He has probably pounded all kinds of other inferior race asses into the dust and debris and just crushed them up with his Aryan penis. As I point that detail out to my coworker, he's like, of course you would think that. I say, you know what? I'm glad today happened. It made me realize I still have boundaries. I still have lines I am not willing to cross. And gay Nazi, that's not a line I'm willing to cross. So let's get our job done, get the fuck out, and then tell literally everybody else that we can about this. And we did. We completed the job. We left. We made several more comments about it. And then the next day in our shop meeting, where everybody was gathered, I regaled them with the story of a gay Nazi. In my years working there, I have not had something so good happen to me. I enjoyed it immensely. That will be a story I will continue to tell, probably until I'm dead. That's gonna stick with me. But our segue here is the hoarding. Because I was such a good worker bee, I was gifted with a new company vehicle. That's all well and good, but that means I have to move all of my equipment from one vehicle to another. It is at this point I realize I, in fact, myself am a hoarder. I have so much redundant and unnecessary shit in my current work vehicle because I think, well, I might need this. I might need this. I need 2 hammers. I need 2 hacksaws. This boring bit that I've never used in the years I've been here, I need it. I might run into a situation where I have to use it. And if I don't have it, then what am I going to do? To the point where it was taking me so long to try and move stuff because the layouts between the 2 vehicles are totally different. I'm trying to get shit organized while I'm moving it. Can't do that. It gets down to the point where 3 other employees have to just take everything from my truck, throw it in my new one, say, fucking deal with it. You don't need this, you don't need that. I immediately started bitching about how shitty the new truck was because I didn't know where anything was. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know what I was going to do. I go from a 2010 piece of shit truck to a 2018 piece of shit truck. I would have taken my 2010 truck because I knew where the fuck everything was and how it worked. Now, I understand I'm going to get used to my new truck. I'm going to figure out how it works and realize that it is, in fact, a superior vehicle. However, I'm an old man. Change like this scares me, especially when you put me on a timeline. You got 1 hour to get your shit moved from one truck to another and then be out on the road doing jobs. One of my flaws is that I cannot work when there's chaos. Now, I can understand, a husband and wife screaming at one another, kids crying, a dog barking on me. That's chaos I can deal with. But when it's chaos within my control, say there's a messy tangle of line, or I have a truck that's in disarray, or my tool bags are just completely out of sorts, it fucks with me on a level unlike any other. I can't focus until I take care of the clutter and organize the chaos. So the fact that I knew I was going to be driving around in a state of constant chaos for my shift yesterday fucked with me to no end, and I lashed out. I was screaming at literally everybody I could yesterday morning about what a gigantic piece of shit truck I had. And everybody's reaction is like, I've never seen somebody bitch so much about getting a brand new vehicle. There were 24 miles on that truck. 24. Not 240, not 2,400, not 240,000. 24. The first thing I do as soon as I turn it on, immediately start screaming that the gas light is on. The fuckers didn't put any gas in it! I gotta go to a goddamn gas station! Well, how much gas is in there, Christian? Do you have enough to get to a gas station? Yes, but the light's on, it shouldn't be on! I can't clean the windows, they're dirty, but there's ice all over covering the windshield wiper fluid. Ah, we'll break the ice off. I'm trying! Why is there a rack in the back? There shouldn't be a rack in the back. We'll take it out. I will! I don't know where anything's gonna go. You're gonna have to figure out. I know, but it's... So rather than be productive and trying to make the most of my time, I proceed to have a mental breakdown and throw a tantrum over the fact that I got a new truck and have to fucking get it organized. Now later in the day, I did get a half hour where I could, kind of get things squared away. And everything's put away, but I realized I have at least 7 pairs of gloves, 6 jackets, ranging from light to heavy terrain, and no space to put really anything, because I gotta cut that shit out. And then I realized all my stockpile of goodies and extra parts that I don't necessarily rely on, but they're a comfort blanket. I realized I want to have them. They're not there. I don't have the shelving or the storage units to put my shit where I need to put my shit, and it's fucking with me. Like if I had a solid 3 hours, yeah, I can make sense of this chaos, but having to work in the chaos is messing with me. And, that's on me. That's my flaw. I need to be grateful. No, I shouldn't be fucking grateful. I worked hard for that. I earned that truck. Such a cunt. Oh, such a cunt. But you know what else is a cunt? Comfortable couches. Comfy couches are the fucking devil. My biggest problem is falling asleep as soon as I get home. Because I work long and I work hard. Much like the wieners I found in the gay Nazi stack of pornography. So, when I get home, I'm exhausted. Usually the little lady's got dinner ready, which is fantastic. Love her very much for that. Very appreciative of it. So I'll change out of my work gear. Get a nice big belly full of hot food. And then immediately, I need to sit in my computer chair. Because if I sit on that luxurious, comfortable couch, I'm going to be asleep within 30, 45 minutes. So last night, we had some delicious stir fry. I know it's not Stir Friday, but we had to eat the stir fry. Really good stir fry. I dig it a lot. And then I see, oh, you know what? There's a new episode of Legion on. Let me do the all-American middle-class tradition of come home from work, eat dinner, watch TV, watch the latest episode of what was on primetime TV. And I get it. You get to turn off your brain, you get to enjoy things and relax. And Legion's a really fucking good show. I love the first season. Second season's shaping up just as great. The problem is, though, is that it's not even 9 o'clock and I'm dozing off. I'm drowsy. I'm wanting to go to sleep, and I'm like, fuck you, Christian. You should at least be awake for another 2, possibly 3 hours. But no. We get out the fleece blankets, sitting on the couch together, watching Legion. Show's coming to an end. got my head on her shoulder, and I'm going in and out. I'm fading fast. And she eventually gets up. She's like, let's go to bed. No. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do stuff. I'm thinking of the PvP challenges I need to complete in Destiny 2 to unlock a new set of gear. No, I'm going to get up. Smite released a new patch, 5.6, Inner Demons. I want to check that out. I'm going to get up. So she gets up, she goes to bed. I'm laying on the couch. Just going to rest my eyes a little bit. Now I'll get up. I'm getting up. I really want to get up. Fall asleep. Wake up 15 minutes later. I should get up and do what I wanted to do, but I am kind of tired. Tomorrow's my late start day. I can just wake up early and do what I wanted to do. Yeah, let's go to bed. The couch is the fucking problem. It's far too comfortable. If it was a stool with a big dildo that I had to stick up my butt while I ate dinner and watched TV, I would probably be awake a little bit longer. Be able to stay nice and peppy and do what I want the rest of the night. I cannot sit on the couch and enjoy it. It's like when I ride passenger in a car. My parents used to have to drive me around as baby to put me to sleep. It must have been the motion and the way the car moved. It would knock me out. As such, that Pavlovian response has been built into me, where I get super comfy in a car ride and just immediately can fall asleep. It makes driving long distances by myself kind of suck. It makes days where I have to drive, 200 miles in a day, a little rough. But the couch is far worse than that. As soon as my big fat ass meets those big comfy cushions, I'm out. I am out. Within an hour, I'm going to be asleep. It's the worst, you guys. It's the worst. Let's see, what's our timer at? What is it? 32 minutes. We did it. We did it! So, last week I uploaded via my phone. I figured out a way to fucking do that. But the formatting's getting goofed up. It's doing the same thing in Firefox. I'm going to have to make the switch back to Chrome. But I will try and get this one uploaded today as well. It just depends how busy I get. Otherwise, yeah, you'll get it when you get it, and it'll pop up in your feed like, hey, we got a new episode! Huzzah! But yeah, we'll see if we can get something else recorded before Monday. I make no promises at this point. As long as we get 1 week, guys. You, me, dream team. We're going to do this together. And then, yeah, no emails this week. But hopefully next week we get something in. Until then, head over to patreon.com/0and09. Pitch in $1 a month. That's all I ask. Keeps this dream going. We got monthly expenses. We got bills to pay. Also, I gauge my self-worth based on metrics and numbers. If you can't pitch in $1, that's totally cool, though. I get it. I understand what it is to be poor. Or maybe you just don't think the show is worth it. I try to do a value for value model. Regardless, if you can't or won't pitch in $1, tell a friend. Say, hey, you like podcasts? I get this guy, he talks about gay Nazis. There's one time he talked about his dead grandpa. They could get it anywhere. The Unwashed Asses. Just tell a friend. But otherwise, we'll see you next week. And I just end the show. I've got nothing. Why?